Great. So, okay, I'll start by introducing myself. Hello, my name is Chiko Makore, and I'm the Disability Manager for Higher Education at Writtle University College, and I sit within the Wellbeing and Inclusion Department.
Mark?
My name is Mike Yates. I'm the Careers Advisor at Writtle University College, and I sit within the Student Success team with John.
Hello, I work with Mark. My name is John McMahon. I'm the HE Learning Mentor at Writtle University College, and I sit within the Student Success team as well.
Hi, my name is Emily Toogood, and I'm a second-year veterinary physiotherapy student at Writtle University College. That's
Great.
it.
We're putting Emily on the spot.
That is my purpose. That is where I sit in the realm of things. Oh dear, it's going swimmingly.
Fantastic. Okay, so we'll move on to the questions. So the first question we've got is, what were the ideas basically behind the kindness approach, small steps to success, and what were we hoping to accomplish?
I suppose I should probably take that one. Okay, so I was doing my A-levels, and back when I was in lower school, and I was struggling really badly at that point with anxiety and a bit of depression as well, and I was trying to get through my academics whilst dealing with a mental health condition, which isn't the easiest thing in the world. So I got to this point in my A-levels, and they had a workshop to do with business skills and interview processes, CV writing, all of the fun stuff that helps students progress out into the world of work and higher education, wherever they want to end up going. So it was very beneficial, except for the fact that nobody really thought about the fact that there were students in there with mental health conditions or disabilities that might be impacted by sitting opposite a stranger and being questioned and I don't know, not interrogated, but kind of asked about themselves, like really kind of personal questions, like what have they done with their lives, and they ended up thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to go to this because I'm going to sound like a complete idiot and I'm going to have a complete panic attack and meltdown in the middle of it, and no one's going to know what to do. So I thought that I couldn't be the only one who's ever thought this in their lives, and it must be a real struggle for students with disabilities and mental health conditions to go out into this environment that they're not used to. So I decided to go to the student success team and pose this idea of working with the student success team and the mental wellbeing team as well, to set up this the series of workshops to help students branch out into the business world, into the world of work, and so it doesn't make it as scary as it is. And the idea is we go through all these kind of interview processes and kind of how to talk to employers, confidence and things like that are really, really key in developing skills that can help students be a bit more confident about entering that world of work, especially when they've got to consider their mental health or a disability. So I wanted to provide students with in a similar position to me with that opportunity to succeed in business. So came up with this idea and we brought it to the student success team and the wellbeing team, and we've ended up with these little mini sessions.
It is something which people get concerned about to varying degrees about making those big steps, and it is important to be able to offer that support. And I think these workshops are really good at offering that smaller scale support to smaller numbers, but a bit more in a more low-key, personalised way of doing it, rather than big lecture theatre, me at the front or someone at the front talking at people. So it's been a good idea, which is hopefully going to sort of flourish and produce lots of good outcomes for people. So But you're right, John. I think different people will have different levels of concern about that move from university to work, and it's going to be a natural concern for everyone on some level.
On some level, yeah, exactly.
And I think it's also about giving students choice, you know, being able to choose the way that they can engage with the service, you know, different options, whereas they can have the, you know, the big group, you know, lectures, you know, and that has the information that they need, and that's quick and easy. And some might need that, you know, the smaller group sessions with more discussion, or bigger groups with discussion. And it's, you know, but understanding that students have varying needs at varying times, and being able to offer a choice of how students can engage with the service in a way that works for them, in a way that appeals for them. And some instances it might be one way and might be the other, but being able to offer that, I think, is quite an inclusive way of sort of approaching sort of student services. And so I think also that sort of works with this approach.
I think it's also about the size of the university as well. It's given us an opportunity, and that's why I felt so confident coming forward with my idea, was the fact that we are very inclusive, and we are trying to help as many students as we possibly can, and you really get that feeling from Writtle. And because it's so small, like with a community atmosphere, you think that that's a perfect environment for that to go out into and help other students. And it's also, especially during the pandemic as well, I think a lot of people are considering their mental health more. And I think especially students, university students, who have been somewhat not abandoned by the government, but there's been a lot of a gap in when they have that address, and they say, oh, schools should be doing this, but they never talk about universities. So I think that between them feeling quite lonely and kind of scared about the situation, and people drawing more awareness towards mental health, and being in this lovely community atmosphere at Writtle, that gives us a kind of nice opportunity to kind of say, hey, it's okay if you want to talk about these things. Everyone is most likely feeling the way you are. It's difficult to come forward with that. And these sessions offer that kind of small, kind of inclusive space where we can go, hey, it's all right, we're going to talk about this and how you can tackle this, this and this. So I think it's helpful in the fact that it's so personal as well. And being able to kind of say, oh, this is the way to kind of help people, is it gets the experience from you guys. That's which is what we need for this, is like how to deal with the workplace, how to succeed in the workplace with all your experience. But it's also about what's the student perspective. Why would students be nervous about accessing this? What would make it easier for them to be a bit brave and go, oh, I might just join that group just to see what happens, and maybe dip my toe in the water and just see. And I think trying to have those two perspectives on one project, I think, has been very, very helpful.
I'd agree, and I think hearing, from what your thoughts are about the issues and what the issues are and how to express them in terminology that would be fairly student-led is, does really help. Because we can guess and try and get it right, but having an input from a student does actually make it a bit more accurate as possible.
Yeah, it's a good word, Mark. Accurate is good. General chat at the start, which we do with the general cohort. What we do is we break it down into sections. So that the last one we had, the confidence and assertiveness, there was 4 sections, and the idea is to stop after each section. So it's not just a case of just saying, does everybody understand? It's not just a case of that, like just prompting a few gentle questions to see what people are understanding from it, what they're taking away from it. And that gives people, and it was Emily's idea, for due to Emily, about giving people time to digest what was going on. So that was new to me. That's quite good in education. So we're all learning.
Yeah, no, I like the fact that these sessions and what we're doing, it bridges that gap between well-being and student success, because with student success it's mainly about kind of academics and how to succeed in that kind of side of things with progressing forward, careers, that kind of stuff, and mental well-being and like general well-being is more about kind of the individual person, and trying to bridge that gap across and making it about both of those things at the same time, especially with the units that we've got involved here, and the fact that we've got student success and we've got well-being involved. It's going to be better to bridge that gap. And I think also having a student present, being me, it's also helpful to the other students to see that it's not that scary, and if they feel like they can't talk to a member of staff, it might be a bit daunting for them to go to the institution and say, listen, this is a problem. They can always talk to the student and just have like a student on student talk. So it feels a bit more kind of level playing field. It might be a bit daunting for them to go and have a chat, because it was in one case a student had to leave one of the sessions, and she was a part of my course in my year. So instead of I think Chiko was in the midst of writing her an email, and she sent me a message just saying, it's not a problem, I'm fine, I've just got somewhere I need to be, I'll come back for the next one. I said, yep, that's absolutely fine, don't worry, we're all right as long as you're okay. And I think it made it a bit more personal. It made it a bit less daunting, kind of going, oh, okay, I was just having a chat with another student, rather than having to be scared, because obviously you lot are lovely, we're not scary at all, but I know that because I know you. So I think it's important to have that bridge there between the students and the staff, being student-led kind of program and initiative, and then you've also got that gap between well-being and student success that's also bridged as well. So I think it's about finding those gaps, and because that's when people fall through, and trying to provide that little safety net there at the bottom for them.
As we sort of round up, I just had one question for you, Emily, that's not on the list of questions, but I was just wondering, on a personal level, being the student that has sort of started this and led, do you feel any additional pressure from starting this that maybe you didn't exist before, that comes with kind of the responsibility, I guess, with having brought together an idea and maybe having to be a part of it? Has that had an adverse impact in any way, or be honest?
Of responsibility to the students, to the community, because I know how difficult it can be, especially at a low point with a mental health condition. So I'm trying to help those people that don't feel like they can help themselves, or want to help themselves but don't know how. And I think that comes with a responsibility, but I'm happy to take that on. I want to be as useful as I possibly can be, and I think that kind of drove me to get more involved with this, and it helped the fact that everybody was so supportive about it and willing to participate. And I think it will eventually get to the point that we're after that kind of the goal that we want, is like engaging the students and getting them to participate. I think it's just that first couple of years is going to be challenging, and it's going to pose quite a few problems, but I'm happy to kind of solve that along with the rest of you, because I know that you really want this to do well, and that's really reassuring. So in terms of pressure, I feel a responsibility, but I also feel proud, and I feel really happy that I can do something to make a difference, and try and reach people that may not necessarily want to be reached, or may want that support but don't know how to ask for it. And I want to make sure that they feel like they can come to anyone and go, hey, I'm not doing too good. Because I think, especially now in the community and society that we're in, with mental health becoming more of a center stage topic, it's important to talk about it now while everyone's minds is on it, and get that support and go, yes, we can do things with this, it's fantastic, and really go for it immediately. And I think doing that, I think we get the best out of it, and we reach the people that need the help, and we encourage them to do well, because that's what I want. Is I want everyone to do as well as they possibly can. And I think that by doing this, it gives them a chance, which is all I'm after.
Well said, Emily.
Thank you very much.
Great. I think that is it.
Yeah.